All right, welcome back once more, ladies and gentlemen. I want to particularly welcome again all of you tuning in from Ground Zero. It's a pleasure to come to you. We've got so much to talk to you today, and I have a full panel that I will be bringing to you along the way. And if time permits, I will also open the phone lines for phone calls from Ambazonians to hear what they feel about what took place in Kumba, the massacre in Kumba over the weekend. We will also be talking about there are two conferences that we have learned are taking place at the end of this month. There is one conference that is following a poll conducted by the Coalition for Dialogue and Negotiations, they call themselves, and also there is one other conference they call the Peace Conference taking place in Ghana. Also by the end of this month, we're gonna be bringing you what we know about those two conferences and those two organizations. And also, we will be looking at the polls conducted by this Coalition for Dialogue and Negotiations. It is very, very important that when things like this are going on, Ambazonians are educated. Ambazonians are educated as to exactly what is being done, who is doing it, how genuine they are. Are they for independence, or are they for one Cameroon or federal Cameroon? This is why we have to bring that information to you, educate you, so that you know exactly who is doing what and to what end. So please, I will not take time sitting here for you to populate this platform because of so much that we got to do. I will bring you my talking points, which is what I call the expose of what took place in Kumba. So please, if you are joining again, go ahead quickly hit your share button. But again, I won't wait until I get 700 before I bring you that monologue. I believe that as we go on, others will join. But in the meantime, please go ahead, hit your share button. Quickly. The moment we hit 500, we have all about 12 people to go. I will come to you with the monologue and have others join while I do so. Again, this is going to be very, very, very informational. And those of you who are out there asking questions as to what went on in Kumba, as to who did it, as to how it happened, as to who was involved. These are the answers. That I bring to you, ladies and gentlemen, today. The investigation is ongoing, but I can tell you we have laid hands on some consequential information that at this moment I would like to bring to you. At this moment. But again, go ahead, continue to hit your share button. Ladies and gentlemen, why I come to you with these talking points. Again, go ahead, hit your share button while I bring you the talking points, the expose, as I call it. It will be very, very illuminating, and many of you who are out there asking questions as to how this incident took place, now you will have some answers. Fellow Ambazonians, our people in the city of Kumba observe a very different kind of ghost town today. A ghost town unlike any other one, precipitated by the barbaric and cowardly act of massacre carried on school children between the ages of 11 and 13 in Kumba. These children were not combatants. They were innocent children, innocent students, sitting in the classroom trying to acquire education. Like in Ngaribo, Big Babanki, Ekona, Mato massacres, among others. The news reverberated across all of Ambazonia, resulting to shock and consternation as people got grieved by the cruelty of man against man. In the face of confusion, fear, and disenchantment, in a country where the people have long been used to living under military occupation, military brutality, and harassment, the many questions surrounding the San Francisco International School incident remain largely unanswered. Why were students in classroom on Saturday morning in the first place? It was supposed to be a weekend. Where were the teachers when the killers came? But above all, who did it? Who are the killers? And how did they come in? These and many questions are begging for answers, some of which still remain very incoherent, very incoherent. But these are some of the facts that the interim government has been able to gather within the last 2 days of the killings. We will lay it out straight and allow you, the public, to make your judgments and summaries. San Francisco International School can be said to be a fairly new school located in Fiango, Kumba. It served only as a primary school initially, until recently it bought part of the plot belonging to former National High School Kumba to expand its infrastructure to add a secondary education level to the institution. It boasts of an enrollment of between 500 to 800 students. Because Mondays have been designated ghost town days in all of Ambazonia, and no one dares it, we learned that San Francisco, like many other schools, had resolved to have classes on Saturdays for catch-up reasons. This school isn't a boarding school. It is a day school, and every student walks to the school from home. On Saturday the 24th, the day of the massacre, the students had all come in from their various homes, hoping it was just going to be another Saturday, and that they did return home to their families as usual. Unknown to them, the shadow of death, the most horrifying one in that matter, was hovering over them. The assailants, we have learned, did not head straight from their base to San Francisco International School. The time was around 11 a.m. Amber. A Toyota Carina E, according to eyewitness account, stopped at Kosala Junction in Kumba. There were six men who jumped out of it and were picked up immediately by 3 waiting Okada riders. A teenager around the Kosala Junction saw them and got so frightened, intimidated, that he rushed and hid himself under the bed. The men looked very frightful, the teenagers said, because they were all face covered, that is, wearing masks. From Kosala Junction, the killers didn't head directly to San Francisco International. They first stopped over at another school just on the other side of St. Francisca's International. Diligent Secondary School is the name of this school, Diligent Secondary School. We are told that when they got at Diligent, they met only teachers, and the teachers were in a meeting. There were no students there at Diligent Secondary School. Maybe, just maybe, because they found no students, they decided to head over to St. Francisca International. At St. Francisca International, people who witnessed them as they approached the school have also confessed that they arrived in 3 motorbikes. The assailants arrived in 3 motorbikes, still all masked. Each biker was carrying 3 people, including the biker himself. One of the students had left the classroom to go drink water. Reaching outside, he met with one of the women who sells food in the school. She was coming in. Seeing the woman struggling to bring down the load off her head, the student rushed to help her. Then, at that time, both of them witnessed the men still in the distance arriving, and the student ran and hid himself in the toilet of the school. What happened to the vendor lady? We have no idea. However, a teacher who had seen them arrive at school, terribly frightened also, jumped from the 2nd story, falling behind the fence of the school and sustaining severe fractures before escaping. The gunmen were masked and with very sophisticated weapons, we learn. They walked into one of the classrooms. We are told that this was a Form 2 classroom. A Form 2 classroom. The first assailant pointed the gun at the forehead of one of the female students. The female student, visibly shaking, pleaded, shouting in French, "Pardon, pardon," in French language. The leader of the group then ordered the gunman in front, pointing the gun at the student, not to shoot that particular student. He, according to the witnesses, was speaking in French too. Their leader was speaking in French too. It is at the intervention of the gunman. At the intervention of the leader, the gunman moved to the next student and blew the brains off his head. He was 11-year-old. The massacre continued from there, and by the last count, about 12 have been declared dead, some dying in their hospital beds out of injuries. No one has been able to tell where all the teachers were. The only thing we have learned is that the teacher who was supposed to be in this particular class 2 classroom had walked out for another assignment in class or Form 3. Unlike the case of the teacher who escaped from the 2nd floor, we have no idea how this other teacher escaped. In the meantime, the boy who first saw the killers coming, as he assisted the vendor lady, hid himself up in the school toilet throughout the whole incident, and only showed up hours after the incident was all over. In fact, people were beginning to count him among the casualties when he couldn't be accounted for. The operation was hastily done, and the assailants left the school before neighbors began piling up at the side of the gory deed, the side of pain and agony, the side of death, as unsuspecting family members show up to find their children slaughtered and left in the pool of their own blood. The killers quickly climbed the same bikes that brought them back to Kosala Junction, where the Corona E Toyota was still waiting for them. We are told was still waiting for them. Neighbors saw them jumping at top speed from the machines back into the Carina car before taking off in reckless speed. Ladies and gentlemen, that is what we have learned within the past 3 days. The past 3 days. Now, the big question though remains, who were these killers? And who were they acting for? Who sent them? For this, the colonial authorities in Kumbai didn't wait to do any investigations before linking these assassins to the Ambazonia Restoration Forces. We saw one of the colonial DOs in the city immediately call for an insurrection. He said he will pick up a gun, and he urged everyone in Kumba to pick up arms too. Pick up arms against what he called Amber Boys. The supervisor, one Chamberlain in Dong, is also on record associating the assassins to the Ambazonia Restoration Forces. We have heard of stories like the Ambazonia Restoration Forces did it because the proprietor of the school would not agree to settle them or bribe them to have her school running. Of course, nothing, and I mean nothing, could be further from the truth. On Saturday, right after the massacre, the owner of St. Francisca International School, one Mrs. Fombindia Judith, a native of Libialem County, was picked up, arrested by the police, and locked up. She has remained in detention ever since, even as I speak to you. If indeed, her school was attacked by so-called Amber Boys because she refused to bribe them, isn't it a plus for her and the colonial administrators who are very much in support of civilians who defy orders from Amber Boys, so-called? How do you pick up and lock up somebody whose school had just witnessed a horrible massacre and she's still mourning? How dare you do that? Why would the police or army arrest parents whose children have just been slaughtered and lock them up if it is not meant to cook up a narrative for the whole incident and to cover up their own tracks? The idea, ladies and gentlemen, that French Cameroon authorities would even think of attributing this barbaric massacre on the Ambazonia Restoration Forces is ludicrous and totally unsupported with the facts that are emerging. For 4 years and counting, this interim government has advised that students stay at home or choose different countries to go to for school if they must. In spite of that, quite a number of schools and even universities continue to operate within the last 2 years. The Ambazonia Restoration Forces have never gone after any student. Why will it be now? And why Kumba? Why Kumba in that matter? Ladies and gentlemen, those parents and the people in Kumba know that the Ambazonia Restoration Forces did not massacre their children. We, and let me say I personally, have spoken to quite a number of victim families between yesterday and today in Kumba. The first thing they told me is that the Cameroon military, the Cameroon army killed their children. And they want the bodies of their children returned to them. They want to honorably bury their own children. They don't understand why the Cameroon government is right now putting pressure on them to allow that government to bury their own children. And by the way, why is that damn government so interested only in dead people, dead Amazonians? I mean, the people they have colonized, oppressed, and marginalized for years. These children were not supposed to be in any classroom on a Saturday. But for the situation this same damn government has put a whole people into, for the 4 years duration of this struggle, ladies and gentlemen, the Ambazonia Restoration Forces have not attacked or killed any students. And they know they cannot attack any student or child. Why would they now do that? We are holding the colonial DOs in Kumba totally responsible for the Kumba massacre. Can the DO for Kumba, who immediately came out shedding crocodile tears and accusing the Ambazonia Restoration Forces and asking people in the city of Kumba to pick up arms, tell the people how you knew, without carrying out an investigation, that the Restoration Forces were the ones who carried out the killings? The colonial officer, if anything, ladies and gentlemen, came across as an accomplice, rushing to conclusions to cover up their tracks. The senior colonial officer for Meme, Chamalin Ndong, also has a lot of explaining to do. The statements allegedly found in his phone are very, very incriminating and put him in the know of what happened at San Francisco International. What we have equally learned is that not only Diligent and San Francisco were in the plot to be attacked. Other schools which they had planned to attack on Wednesday, that is after tomorrow, the schools that had also planned to attack on Wednesday are Cass Kumba, St. Francis Kumba, and one other school that I just don't remember now. They were all supposed to come under attack. These schools were supposed to come under attack like San Francisco International this coming Wednesday. I guess the plot is now exposed and the danger is gone. But this is the reason we believe Kumba was choosing the victim of this inhuman act. Kumba, for the past 4 years, has remained the rock, the center of the resistance in the southern zone. Considering that Kumba is the most vibrant and beaming commercial center in all of Ambazonia, but grounded down by Monday Ghost Town activities, insiders within the administration in Kumba agreed that the only way to turn the Kumba people, the population, against this struggle was to orchestrate this plot, so to whip up popular sentiments against the restoration fighters and against the Ambazonia struggle, and to cancel ghost towns. They will use their mass soldiers to kill. Their administrators, as we saw, would come out and point fingers at the Ambazonia Restoration Forces, and the population would believe them, take the cue, and go after the Ambazonia Restoration Forces. This was the strategy that emerged out of a meeting in Kumba days before this incident, attended by city officials and other top-ranking elite from Yaoundé. But the people of Kumba are much smarter. In spite of the pressure, they have refused to believe the narrative that their own fighters killed their children. They say it has never happened and it couldn't have been. The burden, therefore, is on the colonial officers in Kumba to tell us what happened. There are things they have embarked upon that are very, very questionable since this incident took place. Why are they still holding the proprietor of St. Francisca International in custody since Saturday? Are they trying to clean up evidence at the school, or what are they trying to do? Or are they trying to craft a narrative for her to go out and tell the world? Why do they not want to release the corpses to the parents to take care of their own funerals? Today, Monday, ladies and gentlemen, the military in Kumba was sent on visitations to the parents of the killed children, trying to console them and then telling them not to worry, that the government is going to take care of the burials for all of them. Just think about this. They then invited all the parents to a meeting at the Central Police Station Kumba for tomorrow. That is tomorrow, Tuesday. Again. Why all of this? Why this pandering? The interim government is calling upon the international community to insist on a thorough investigation of this massacre. The bullets from the scene of that incident must be recovered and serve the investigations. We urge the parents of the children to deny any burials by the colonial government. The bodies must be preserved for appropriate forensics to be conducted as per the kind of weapons that were used to slaughter them. The parents should agree to burials only after an independent investigation by the United Nations, if possible, has been conducted. In the meantime, we ask every parent in all of Ambazonia to keep your child or keep your children home. Keep your children home. All schools should remain shut down. We had warned about situations like this happening. If you had listened to us and took it seriously, maybe, just maybe, this may have been prevented. Unfortunately, many people like to learn the hard way. Please keep your children home. Keep your children home. And let me speak to every school proprietor out there. You open your doors and any one child is killed again in any school, any institution in Ambazonia, we will hold you responsible. Again, we will hold you responsible. We are aware that the colonial forces are out there trying to intimidate you to open up your institutions for learning. But we have said again and again, and we will repeat it, there isn't safety, there isn't security out there. Keep those institutions shut down for the safety of those students. Any one more child killed in any school, we will hold the schools responsible. If children must go to school, save their lives. Parents, save their lives and send them to school out of Ambazonia, even if it means sending them to Nigeria. This incident, like the many others we have witnessed in this struggle, isn't going to deter Ambazonians. Situations like these only stir up holy anger in us. They only push us further to achieving our resolve, a free and independent Ambazonia. As we stated last week, if La République du Cameroon does not arrest and bring to justice the perpetrators of this crime, the interim government will do all it can to bring them to justice. These students' blood must not go in vain. Their blood will cry out to their killers and dragged to the public square someday, and justice meted. I have no doubt that in the days ahead, La République du Cameroon will pick up some of their men, dress them to look like amber boys, and drag to the cameras to indict them for the killings. We have long known these types of tricks. We have seen this before. That won't work this time. Fellow Ambazonians, the interim government will stay on top of these investigations till we get to the killers. In the meantime, we ask you, all of you, all Ambazonia on Ground Zero, remain resolute, remain strong, and never forget, ours is a war of independence. The enemy thinks by killing us, they did get us discouraged, fatigued, and divided. We must not fall for their tricks. Even if it takes another 5 years, we must persevere till La République du Cameroon is finally seated with us at a negotiation table. We will get there and we will win. There is just no other option here. God bless you all. God bless you all. God bless you all. All right, ladies and gentlemen, that is the monologue. I hope that this made a lot of sense to all of you out there. We will continue in the days ahead to get more information and to put the pieces together. And they are adding up and they are making sense, a lot of sense. At this moment, I will be joined by Comrade Paul Nilong. Paul Nilong, who is a very popular figure out there in Meme County, Kumba in particular, and he has been following up what is going on in Kumba. Comrade Paul, it's a pleasure to have you, sir. Good evening from Europe.
Good evening, Secretary Chris. Good evening, fellow Ambazonians. Good evening, my people of Meme.
All right. And thank you, Paul. I will come back to you. And after Comrade Paul, I will also be joined by Barrister John Frunso. I will also be joined by Dr. Patience Abidu. And also I have Ntumfoin Bo Herbert here with me, all of them on the set. But let me start with Comrade Paul Nilong. All right, Paul, what are you hearing? What are you hearing from the ground in Kumba? And is it any different from what from the narrative that I just put out here?
No, Secretary Chris, that is exactly what happened. That is the same information I got. But I want to begin, let the world know what is happening with the Mother Francisca school. Why that lady was picked up. Why it was picked up. I want the world to know that last academic year, the proprietress of the Mother Francisca Secondary Academy was contacted by the principal of Ekimba, government school Ekimba. Please let the people of Kumba listen to me very well. She was contacted by the principal of government school Ekimba, telling her that all her students who were preparing for the public exams, that she should register them under government school Ekimba. This lady refused. She said, I have a center, my school has a name, a center number. Why should I carry my students and hand them to you? Because the principal of Ekimba, GSS Ekimba, wanted to show the world that government schools are operating well in Kumbatu. So when this lady refused, there was an animosity And I want the world to know that all students public exam in Mother Francisca, under Mother Francisca, got 0%. No student was successful. So that is the beginning of the problem. I cannot get you, Secretary Chris.
No student was successful at Mother Francisca at the ordinary level?
Yes, no student was, the percentage was 0 for that particular academy. All those students who registered under Mother Francisca, they got a 0% because she did not do what the principal of government school wanted. So that is where they started.
So if last year, Comrade Paul, no student
Yes.
was successful at the ordinary level there, how come the school had a lot of enrollment? I mean, we have learned of between 500 to 800 students.
Yeah, the examination class was not much. The number was not much for the examination class.
Okay.
So they decided to give her a 0%, thinking they will intimidate her that this year she will not succumb to register the students that she will have under GSS Ikemba.
Okay.
So I want everybody now. They have taken her in custody because after the when she will be released, she will be reading by the script to tell the government narrative of what happened.
Have you heard from the restoration fighters in Kumba? I know you are very much within them. I listened to an audio from, what is his name again? The commander.
Above the law.
Who was that again?
Yeah. Above the law.
Above the law, right. I listened to him, and this guy was heartbroken. He was heartbroken in the message he put out there. Are you hearing from other fighters in Kumba, and how are they feeling about this?
I want to tell you, Secretary Chris, and I want to tell the Ambazonia, and I want to tell the international community that all our fighters are devastated. They are heartbroken, just like myself. As I'm speaking, I have headache since yesterday. I have serious headache. I have never been traumatized for the past 20 years. Since Friday, I am traumatized. And why? I want the world to understand, to know this, that this thing happened at about 11 o'clock. By 1:30 European time, 1:30, exactly 1:30, a commissioner of police who is in Yaoundé, I am with him in a public group. Listen to what he wrote to me. We had a small encounter in the group.
Okay.
And this is what he wrote. Information just reached us that you sent those guys to kill the children. Honestly, I am red. This is the peak of your terrorist action. Trust the international world. This is what a commissioner wrote to me in a public group just 2 hours after the incident. And this is a proof.
Have you had any encounter with this military police commissioner before?
No, we have never had any encounter. We are in a public group, how will I put it? A social group. We are there together. They have their own camp. I have my own camp. Not their own camp and my own camp. Let me not put it that way. They have their own idea and I have my own. But in the group, we hardly talk about the political. We just debate at times. It's very oral. But when this incident happened, he came up with it. And the first images that came out had the trademark of my country people. I want the world to know that. That is their
That
system.
is very true. And there was also a tweet from my country people stating that they have killed Ambas in Kumba. Now, in the course of this, one of the narrative that I learned was that when these soldiers, these killers, murderers, got to the scene, They saw some of these students, which I have also seen in the videos out there. They saw some of the students dressed in amber colors, and they started shooting, I guess, assuming that these were amber boys. I guess when you look at what my country people is writing out there, you see the connection in what he is writing, to which also point at the fact that La République du Cameroon is responsible for this, or else how does my country people come to know about it and write about it before any other person?
See, Secretary Chris, it's a business they are doing with my country people. Each time they go out for operation, the first images that you get goes directly to my country people. It is my country people who distribute, who sends it, tweet and tap, make his funny stuff and send them out. It is their trend. Right from Karbu, from Ayafo, Bali, everywhere we get this particular trend, which we must not. Secretary Chris, I want you to understand that after the disgrace that the colonial authority got from the palace of Von Mukete, when the ladies shouted that they will not disrespect Country Sunday, it was an insult to them. It was an insult. So this is the way they are used to disconnect, to bring a loggerhead. And I want to tell you, I have a strong voice when it comes to Kumba. So many people, they always ask me when things. Now, the first name, when it happened, so many people called me and said, oh, Paul, we are this, we are that. I told them, please, Paul is not there. Paul should not, I am not, I can never, it will never happen with Paul Nilon. So they want that disconnection. Like the La République is trying all her best to disconnect us, to create that anger between us. I have asked, where are the bullets? There was gunshot, machete, and I cannot imagine that they have banned the sales of cutlass. Then people will climb on bikes with cutlasses and they are heading to a particular, and everybody is okay with it. So you can understand. It was a purely surgical, classically mastermind. This operation, Ambazonians, you should know, this operation did not take up till, it was not even up to 20 minutes from onlookers. It was very sharp and fast because it was well planned and calculated.
Right, that is exactly what
bullet cases.
That is exactly what I learned, that it was surgically conducted. It didn't take much time. A student who had come out of one of the classrooms, a student who had come out of one of the classrooms to help a woman who would usually come to that school to sell food. Immediately he got out and began helping this lady to bring down the load from her head. Saw them rush into the toilet of the school. Another teacher, you can see this building that you all see here, ladies and gentlemen. Another teacher who saw them, he was on the second story of this building that you see on your screen. That teacher jumped from that story building, scaled out of the fence and escaped with her dear life. Paul, let me ask you before I let you go. What is the picture in Kumba today? I am glad that Kumba was totally locked down today. And tomorrow, ladies and gentlemen, the interim government has also declared Tuesday in all of Ambazonia a day of national mourning. Everywhere in Ambazonia should be shut down and grounded in solidarity and sympathy, condolences with the families in Kumba, especially when, as you find on your screen, parents, these same parents who are still mourning are now having to fight to get back the corpses of their children to bury them. So, Paul, what is the atmosphere in Kumba? What are you hearing from Kumba? Are the people determined to face this barbarism that has long been brought upon them by these colonial officers?
Secretary Chris, you know that Kumba is the bedrock of this revolution when it comes to the Southern Zone. And there is nothing you can do to convince the people of Kumba of the reality they see. I want you to understand that. The people of Kumba, I have explained, I made an audio, a 5-minute audio today, explaining to them. When the interim government says stay at home, stay at home. Because those who will be telling you to go out, those who will be telling you, who will be giving a full report within 24 hours of a crime, a heinous crime like that, they give you within 24 hours, they have already come out with their lives. They are not there to help you. So I told them, please stay at home. We are mourning. This thing will not happen. The first thing that the colonial deal will say, I will arrest. The next, the mayor will tell you, let us go out and protest. When you protest, you go back to your home. Please stay at home. I like the people of Kumba. They are consistent in this struggle. They are ready to carry this struggle till the end. Because they see the barbarism, they see the handwork of La République. And I also want to give a small observation that I have followed up in the international media these days. When this incident happened, I was keen on France 24. Secretary Chris, you cannot believe, Ambazonians, you will not believe that France 24, that you know, has not even laid an accusing finger, has not even pointed an accusing finger like they used to do on Amazonian Restoration Forces.
Paul, that is not surprising by any means. I'm sure you saw the headlines coming out of French Cameroon. I'm talking about English tabloids. You saw the headlines, quite a number of them pointing fingers at Amazonians, at the Restoration Forces. You read from the Minime Force. They accuse, the very first story they go out, they point fingers. I don't know some of these people where they studied journalism. I don't know where they studied journalism. Mimi Mefo is a disgrace in what she does. Besides the fact that what she writes is so badly written, she never get the facts right. And let me quote you a very good instance. There was once she put up a photograph which are actually depending on her ability to put out good factual stories. I used that photograph thinking that this is an event that just took place in Boya. Remember the women going out to protest in Kumba, and we should put out a photo just to label that photo to indicate that this event took place some time ago. No, there was no labeling, nothing like that. I took that photo and I used it just to find out, only to find out this event had long taken place, even though there was a protest. But the images you put out there had nothing to do with that particular protest. So when things happen, they rush to pass judgment. I just don't understand what journalism that they do out there. And I think we must continue. We must continue. Ambazonians must continue to call them out for it. All right, Paul, I give you the last word and I bring in the next panel.
Secretary Chris, don't think, when you talk about journalism, you cannot talk about journalism in La République at the moment or in Ambazonia. They are under duress. They don't write what they want. They write what the authority of Yaoundé want. If you write the reality, your paper is suspended, your paper is banned. So you must dance according to the tune. What Ambazonians
I don't think they are writing what Yaoundé want. They are writing what they are paid to write. Any uncorrupted reporter, journalist always sets out to write the facts. They always set out to write the facts. But what is going on in La République is that almost every newspaper since the beginning of this struggle has been bought over by La République, and they write what suits La République.
Yeah, that is why I say, Secretary Chris, we don't follow. I don't follow again the local media. I follow the change that is happening in the international media. It means they are beginning to realize that La République is a failed state. Afrique 24 mentioned this story yesterday, Sunday in the morning, and never said anything about it. Yesterday in the night on their African Focus, they instead talked about polio in Yaoundé. Now today, this evening, in a very 5 minute or a 3 minute talk, they made a small analysis. They never even mentioned as they were used to. Sky News has not even talked anything about it. So it's to tell you that La République is gone and gone. The international community know they are the perpetrators. The international community is aware. So I want to tell my people of Kumba before I leave this stage, please, this struggle, we did not start it. It started with Foncha. We are merely taking the baton. If we stop it today, our children will take it tomorrow. Please, La République will never love you. They have masterminded this heinous act so that you will hate Ambazonia, so that you will hate your restoration forces. Please, we are fighting for you. We are fighting not for today. We are fighting for a better Ambazonia tomorrow.
All right.
Do not listen to whatever they say. Stay fast, stay focused, and we will make it till the end.
Thank you, Paul. Thank you for joining the broadcast. Please keep on gathering whatever you find out. Let me know, please. You have a great night. Ladies and gentlemen, I am also joined right here on set by Barrister John Fru Inso. I'm joined by Ntumfoin Bo Herbert and Dr. Patience Abidu. They all right here with me on the set. Ladies and gentlemen, it's a pleasure having you back on ABC. So much going on out there, particularly about the killings, these killings in Kumba. Barrister John, let me start with you. What do you make? What do you make of all of this? What do you make of all of this, Barrister John?
Chris, thank you very much. I have heard your narrative or your expose, and it is to the point of what I found out myself. But let me say something as a lawyer. When things like this happen and evidence is uncovered, these activists should shut their mouth and let that evidence be exploited. I cannot believe that my comrade UN attacked that phone messages from the colonial SDO's phone, which has a number. His phone number is on that message. And I believe that he sent that message. And any good lawyer looking at the phone number and the message will take that as a primary evidence. And what he was saying was accusing some of his commander, whether it's a commander or general or whoever, of not doing what he wanted him to do, to kill a teacher or something. They went and killed. They should know that Ambazonians cannot are not being held responsible by the population. And either they should correct it immediately. And secondly, that they should arrest that lady. And that lady is now in custody following the instructions of that SDO. Why would UN attack and call that evidence fake?
Barrister John, you make a very, very critical point there, and that is something that our activists, they need to learn to do findings, do investigation before they go out running their mouths. They are acting the same like these reporters from La République du Cameroon. I don't understand how somebody jump out to saying, oh, those notes from the colonial DO's office are not his own, or even attempting to frame up that lady in the hands of French Cameroon forces. But let me ask you, as a lawyer, when an incident like this takes place and a victim essentially is picked up and locked up? What do you make of that as a lawyer?
Chris, I am very shocked. Of course, I'm not so shocked because there is no law in La République du Cameroon. The administrators, the policemen, the military men, they don't know, they don't want to respect anything called the law. How can you go and arrest a victim who is grieving? The lady has just lost more than 12 of her students.
Right.
In an attack that you perpetrated, and you go, the first thing you do, you go and arrest that victim. And I'm even hearing that some of the parents of the dead children are in custody. I don't understand this.
Right. Some of them were in custody. I learned they have all been released except for this school proprietor.
Well, why were they first arrested in the first place when their children were gone down? When the lady lost 12 of her students, why would they arrest her? What did she do? Is it a bad thing to have a school? What did she do that it was against the law for them to arrest her and detain her since Saturday? She's still in detention. I don't understand it. Look, we cannot talk about law in this whole dungeon called La République du Cameroon. They don't know anything about law.
Thank you. Let me move to Ntumfoin to give us his take on this. Ntumfoin, what are you making? What are you making out of all of this, sir?
Well, the first thing, thanks, Creamy and my two comrades. Always a big pleasure to be with you. And our people on Ground Zero, I salute you. My condolences to my people in K-Town and to the parents. I'd like to just say very quickly that the international community has understood that La République du Cameroun is playing this game and nobody is playing along with them. Nobody is amused. La République du Cameroun will find out very soon just exactly how bad this is for them. Nobody has forgotten Gabu. Yes, they managed to get the chairperson of the African Union, who has a citizen of La République du Cameroun working with him, to tweet immediately about this issue. And he only this morning tweeted about the incidents that are happening in Nigeria. Nobody from the United Nations has taken their bait to blame separatists or to blame the people of Ambazonia. What they have done here in Kumba is the equivalent of the Sharpeville massacre in South Africa. This is the time for the people of Ambazonia to show their anger. And this is the time for the people of Ambazonia to pick up those guns and fight to the last person. This is the time also to close down those schools and keep children at home. What La République did, on the 24th, they already had a statement out of Yaoundé from their Minister of Communication indicating exactly what had happened according to them. All made up. Now that statement did not wait for any investigation. The report from the police and the gendarmerie indicated the first justification was that this school was not an official school, and so they did not provide security for that school. This was also what they used to go in there and kill the students. The last point I will make is this. In every crime, there has to be benefit. There is no benefit in this crime for Ambazonia. Absolutely none. The only benefit is for La République du Cameroun, and they have been desperate to stop the school boycotts. And they thought the only way they could do this and turn the people of Ambazonia against this revolution is to go out and kill people in the most gruesome way possible. Now that will backfire the same way Ngabu backfired. They tried to say it was Ambazonians. We know that they operated with the militia in Ngabu. They themselves confessed to it. And so they continue to do it here, and they will be found out.
Thank you, Ntumfoin. Let me move to Dr. Patience, the only woman in this panel. I'm sure your heart should be wrenching like every other woman out there. Among these ladies, one of them, among the parents, one of them lost 4 children. 4 children, was it 3 or 4? Are there 3 or 4 children from a single family? Tell me, as a woman, how do you feel hearing this kind of news, that maybe that could be all of our children?
Thank you, Secretary Chris. Before I start, I want to take a moment and light a candle for all those kids. So let's have a moment for all the lost ones, our lost children. So I light this candle for all our children that have been taken away from us by the wicked forces of La Republique. May their souls rest in peace. May their parents have some sort of peace and solace from God, who knows all and who knows why. Secretary Chris, when I got up Saturday morning, I was supposed to go for a funeral service of one of our friends who had passed away a few months ago from COVID. And when I opened my phone and I saw those images, I couldn't even look at them because some of them were so horrific that I could not. When you start looking at it and you see what it is, you just turn it over to the next. You ask the question as a mother, how do you feel about something like this? I'm going to ask this question to every mother out there to just close their eyes for one moment and just imagine that they send their kids to school, their daughter or son to school, and a few hours later on, they go back and see the lifeless body of their child on the floor, murdered in a horrific manner. It's painful. It's awful. No mother, no parent should lose a child in this manner. Yes, we have advised our people not to send their kids to school, but no one expected something like this to befall on those kids. Comrade Bo said something that it doesn't benefit Ambazonia to take away our kids, which is true. Let's think about it. We are fighting for our freedom. Why will any bona fide Ambazonia go and kill innocent children? And if they were supposed to even do something like that, I cannot even fathom it. They will probably kill the children of their enemies, not their own children, right? You don't harm yours, you harm your enemy. So this makes no sense. Secretary Chris, it's a painful day, but where do we go from here? You know, that's the question. We cried about Gabo. We don't want another Gabo. Now we have Kumba. We're going to say we don't want another Kumba. What are the chances that we're not going to have something else down the road? We cannot guarantee that, right? So where do we go from here? How do we make sure this doesn't happen again? That's the question we should be asking and finding solutions to.
All right.
I want to just say one more thing, Secretary Chris.
Okay, please, go on.
You know, when something like this happens, you think you really want to hear from the international community. And it was so depressing to get the message from the UN General through his spokesperson. I don't know if you guys have read the UN General's message about this atrocity.
We have read that. I think I have read that.
But the thing is that he explains his condolences, but he's calling for ceasefire. Ceasefire is not the solution at this time. What he should be doing is sending people to the ground to investigate, the right quarters to investigate. Because after a crime like this, as my able comrades have mentioned, Evidence disappears if you're not there. You cannot ask La Republique to investigate this themselves. Who is there to go ahead and make sure that they've gotten all the bullet cases, or to take picture of the footprints in the area, any evidence in the area, so that they can get justice for these people? Nobody is there. And then 2 months or 3 months down the road, they're going to blame some innocent person sitting down on the street that cannot defend themselves. And then we forget about this and then move on to another disaster.
Of course,
So
that
we
is a
are
fact.
really,
I was
really-
going to get to that, but let me get to Barrister John. As you find on your screen, Kumba parents and government fight over burial rights. I stated in my monologue that today, this morning, French Cameroon military started going door to door to the parents, to the bereaved parents, telling them not to worry, inviting them for a meeting tomorrow, Tuesday, at the Center Police Station in Kumba, and they are promising that the people should not worry, the parents should not worry, the government is going to do the funeral for them, blah, 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 blah. And the parents are telling us that no, they don't want anybody in that matter to conduct any funerals for their children. What do you think is going on here, Barrister John?
Chris, before I answer that, let me say that I want to answer briefly the question raised by Dr. Abiado. Where do we go from here? In Gabu, the Minister of Communication wrote a communique of the same manner, accusing us and calling on friendly countries to help them bring us to book.
Right.
Number two, it happened in Bamenda. The two generals and one commissioner of police signed a document called Keep Bamenda Clean. That is another evidence. Number three, Kumba. Mr. René Sadi has written the same style of narrative that he wrote on Gabu. And will be adding this to the file. This is a pattern that they have used to commit genocide. Let me answer your question. First thing, we will tell our parents in Kumba, I'm talking like a lawyer now, nobody should go anywhere tomorrow to the police for any meeting. Because these people are trying to hide evidence, and they will do everything to bury those children before forensic examination takes place. We want to know the bullet that was used, the type of weapons that were used to kill those children. You will not know until there is forensic examination of the bodies. And they are hurrying, going around trying to convince the parents that they will do the burial themselves so that they take control of the bodies. The law is against them. When once somebody dies in an accident or in an attack like this, the parents' wishes of having the corpse of their children buried becomes primordial. And in order to do that, they must conduct an autopsy on all those bodies to find out the weapons, the bullets that were used to kill those children. Why are they trying to hurry now and call them and tell them that we will bury, you will not have to spend money to bury, and so on? It's a way of hiding evidence. So our parents in Kumba, if you are hearing me, if you are listening to me, don't go anywhere. Let them commit the crime of hiding evidence themselves. If they venture bury any of those children without forensic examination, it's a blatant violation of the law. They did that in Gabu, and they went and dug up the bodies. I don't know what they did. I don't know exactly what they did there. They did that in Muyuka with that lady, and they wanted to bury the lady. I don't know what happened there. Let me tell you, Chris, these people are very devilish. And the international committee is there watching, like Dr. Biado said. How can a Secretary General in the United Nations, this is the third time he is talking about massacre, and he asked La République du Cameroon to investigate itself.
Right. Let me come to you, Barrister John. Hold on with your thought there.
Where will you have an accused person? Because they claim that we are the ones. We are saying that they are the ones. So there are accused persons. Why would somebody ask an accused person to investigate himself?
That's a question, and that's the same question
we are calling for the United Nations to set up a commission of inquiry and send that commission immediately on the ground to investigate this massacre in Kumba.
Thank you. Ntufo, let me come to you. As you heard in my monologue out there, CAS Kumba, St. Francis, and I think one other school were also supposed to be on attack this Wednesday. Somehow this event now, and me saying it here, probably has exposed their plans. What do you make of this? Let me also add that up in Bamenda, I will not mention the school so that maybe the director of the school there is not in trouble. A bomb was planted in one of the schools up in Bamenda. This is just as early as last week. And the school authorities found it and reported it to the military. The military came to the scene and warned, in fact, forced the principal to say that it was planted by Ambazonia restoration fighters. The principal bluntly denied he didn't see them, and he's not going to say that. Now we see this in Kumba, and we see this attempt to cover the evidence. And the UN is saying, Cameroon, investigate yourself. Tell our people, what should we or what should they be expecting from the United Nations? A piece of paper like what we saw from Guterres yesterday?
Well, the United Nations is a laughing stock, 75 years on, and it should be buried because it has failed. That's how the League of Nations failed. The only trouble here is that the world has not come to grips with the fact that it has failed. The spokesperson of the Secretary General of the United Nations is a French citizen. We know the connection of the French with respect to this genocide, and we know what agenda they are implementing there. So we are not surprised. But we know exactly how La République du Cameroon functions when they do these things. In Gabu, they burned up the bodies. You remember? They burned them up so that evidence would be destroyed. They claimed that it was explosion from petrol. Then they went on and buried the bodies. Then they built a military camp over the bodies. They chased people out of their ancestral lands in Gabu to make sure that no evidence, nobody, no witness. The witnesses should be scattered around the world. One of the first requests that was made by some people in audio messages from out of Kumba, I'm a K-Town boy, I went to CAS Kumba. God forbid anybody should attack anyone else anymore. But one of the first audio messages that we heard was an audio message that said that the soldiers should stay there. So they're getting ready to build new camps over the graves and the murder scene of these students. This is the Boko Haram government that has worked very hard, kidnapping students from PSS Bafut, PSS Nkwen, trying to stop schools the same way that Boko Haram has been trying to stop schools. And being unsuccessful, they have decided they're going to go out and kill. Don't forget, this is the government that has promised through the voice of Atanganchi that they will bury not only the dead, but they will bury the bereaved. This is an evil, monstrous regime that needs to go. And the people of Ambazonia, think about it. There were not as many people killed in Nigeria by the police officers before the NSAS protest started. People of Ambazonia, you need to rise up. You need to make sure that we close this war now. You need to make sure that we free our nation now. You cannot sit back. They killed in Kumba. On Saturday, they will kill in Bamenda. They will kill in Kumbo. They will kill in Jinikom. They will kill in Boya. People of Ambazonia, you have to rise up. We have to take our country back.
Thank you, Ntumfoy. Talking about La République du Cameroon investigating itself, we recall that they investigated Ngarabo. And what do we get from there? Who has been disciplined? Who has been locked up for killing a score of people and decimating people's properties in Ngarabo? I think the United Nations is just making a mockery of itself by saying La République should go and investigate itself. And I think all of us here are agreed that we are where we are today because of this same nonsense United Nations. If the United Nations has the power to bring La République du Cameroon to a negotiation, but they have failed to do so, and when each time something like this happens, they write an empty paper and call for some investigation. After the investigations, what? Nothing. Nothing. So, Dr. Abidu, let me bring you in. Let's get back to this issue of the United Nations. I think Comrade Bo has said it. Don't you think Ambazonians should stand up and do what Nigerians did? What happened in Nigeria is, you cannot even equate it to what is going on in Kumba. The time has come for Ambazonians to rise up if it means everybody carrying a gun, even as that colonial officer suggested. But you carried a gun to chase them out. Dr. Patience, I hand it to you.
Yeah, it is absolutely right, Secretary Chris. We live in the United States here. A simple thing like somebody may, like a police person may hurt somebody or shoot somebody, and people get up together, walking down the street, burning houses. Not that I support burning houses, but that's what they do. To protest, to bring light to the situation. It is really time for us to do that in our country. People should get up, and they are fighting for their existence. It's no longer what I see people say, end the Anglophone crisis. That is not the case. I've seen some videos of people in Douala or in Yaoundé, women in black, protesting, and there's tweets on the in Twitter, end Anglophone crisis. This is not an Anglophone crisis. This is a crisis of us to survive as human beings. When we live with these people, we are not human beings. We are dogs and we are rats and cockroaches. If we don't fight now for our own survival, then our children are in trouble, because they will always be second-class citizens. They will always be slaves in their own land. The mothers, if they were to get up together, and the children and everybody walk the street together, I don't think that La République can overshadow them or overpower them. If they decide to take their guns and shoot them from the sky, then the whole world is sane. And I hope that will never repeat itself like they did a few years ago when we were declaring our independence. So it is time. It is really absolute necessity. This is like the last straw. You cannot sit there, send your child to school, and then you leave, and nobody, the child doesn't come back home. When will it end? If you don't rise now, it will never end, and you will regret it for the rest of your life that you didn't speak for these lost souls. I don't know how we do it, Secretary Chris, but it's something that we need to organize. Some people may say that we're living in our own leisure homes back here. I bet you if I were in Cameroon, I would be on the street. I will be on the street. So that is the spirit of everybody. It's no longer a Francophone thing or Anglophone thing. It's an Ambazonian thing. We already declared our independence. What is it there to? You know what? There was a time back I thought about this question. I said, why are we depending on the United Nations for us to claim our land? And I asked the question, I asked my husband, why do we need the United Nations to make us Ambazonians? If we believe that we are Ambazonians, we all rise together and say, this is our land. We make them believe that this is our land. We set the narrative. I think this is a time to start doing that.
All right, and talking about women, Dr. Abidu, talking about women, I'm wondering, where are these so-called North or Northwest, Southwest women task force? Where are they? Isn't this the time they should be on the street demanding answers from the colonial officers in Kumba? And shouldn't they be behind these school proprietors saying, hey, send her out. She just lost 12 students in her school and you are locking her up. Shouldn't they get to the street and be saying, release this woman?
Well, they're probably waiting for something, maybe a week later on or 2 weeks to organize themselves, which will not be the right time to do something. This is the time to do something if you really believe in what is going on. You don't wait when the dust has settled to come up and start speaking in political terms. They are politicians. They don't care for us. They don't care for the women. So they're not going to come out right now. They're speaking the language of La Republique. So they will not come out now. That's the answer.
Into phone, please. I'm sure you've seen the headlines coming from La Republique, the way this thing has been reported. Of course, they are all the headlines are all slanted spin to put the blame on Ambazonia Restoration Forces even before attempts at investigations. You are a professional here. Tell me what you smell out of that, and the Mimi Mefos and all these also activists as Barisanso mentioned. What do you smell out of this?
This government or this regime of Mr. Biya is the same. You remember the people who were singing the Nigerian national anthem when no anthem was sung? You remember the people, the 6 children who were stampeded to death when they were shot and killed at the SDF rally, according to them? You remember Mr. Biya on the 30th of November 2017 standing on state TV and claiming that people had attacked Cameroonian forces, and because of that he's now declaring war. You remember Isaac Chiruma claiming on the 1st of October that our people had attacked them? You remember them declaring that everybody should vacate the 16 villages across Manu and Dian because if they stay there, they will be terrorists, they will be treated as terrorists. This is a government that fabricates the news that they want to see, and then they print it, and then they try to make believe. They have tried it on too many incidences and it's not working. Obviously, they have got people who are working for them. And it is a disgrace. You cited the example of Mimi Mefo. But it's more of a disgrace because now she works for Deutsche Welle. We could understand the pressure when you work from the home front. The truth here is that there is no free media in that place. And so we expect those headlines to come out of where they call, they used to say in French, like,
but is it just about free media? People like Mimi Mefo, they live in Europe. They are under all the freedom of the West that you can expect, but they slant these stories outrightly.
I was picking up a specific example to say that she has no right to do what she's doing, and there will be complaints going to the Deutsche Welle where she works. If that is what we need to do, we will do it. She's got to realize that she has to become a professional. Ambazonians fought for her when she reported on the killing of the evangelist, the American evangelist, who was slaughtered by La Republique forces. And we got her out of jail by our protests and everything. I'm glad for her position she has at Deutsche Welle, but you cannot use journalism here to massacre our people. We will not let it happen. We will not allow propaganda to rule. We will not allow it. And it is valid for also people who are enablers of La République du Cameroun, who live even here in the United States, who are writing rubbish on social media, who are taking the La République's side, and who are propagating the story that Ambazonians did this. It is very clear who did this. It is very clear who profits from this crime. It is very clear that they have been desperate. They were here in the United States. They lobbied the Senate of the United States so desperately. And the Senate went out and put out a statement. You remember? They said we should end the boycott of schools. And we told them, how can you tell us that we are free to run non-violent protests but you are asking us to end a non-violent protest boycott of schools. We are never going to end the boycott, and we are never going to give up on our fight for independence. We learned it from the United States. We will not back down. We will not give up. And they, La République du Cameroon, they know what time it is right now. Because if you want to compare it with another country, compare it with East Timor. Compare what happened in East Timor when you got to around 1998. Now, East Timor declared their independence in 1975. But by 1998, the government, when Suharto died, the government realized there that they could not continue to keep Gusmao in prison. They released him. And one of the first things they did in 1999 was to say, we need to give you special status in East Timor. East Timor rejected special status. In 1998, they said, we have to consider independence. In May 2002, East Timor was independent. This is where Ambazonia is going. You need to understand the signs. You need to recognize what those signs are, and you need to fight on, people of Ambazonia. You are very close.
Thank you. I'd like all of you, before I move to the next subject, to speak directly to Ground Zero, because we know what this is all about. La République is trying to intimidate everybody on Ground Zero, get them discouraged, get them to give up. What should Ground Zero know? What should they know at this moment? Ntumfoy.
I think I said it a moment ago. If you are not fighting in this war is fighting against you. Please, if you are an Ambazonian, if you believe in your right to life, to liberty, to the pursuit of happiness, you have to rise up against the apartheid regime that the Biya government has in that place. You have to rise up, and I mean, don't just rise up and deliver yourself to be killed. Because they are killing you, please provide for yourself. For those who live abroad will continue to support you. We do it not from out of comfort. So many people talk about how we live in comfort in the United States and all of that. And it is true that life is more comfortable. But we are making sure that we are uncomfortable by making sure that we support you, by making sure that we stand with you, and that we do these campaigns in support of your rights. That is why you see La République so desperate, asking that they round us up and bring us to trial. We are waiting for La République. They will not succeed. They tried in courts in the United States. They were kicked out of court. They will be the ones who will answer charges before the ICC, and that is coming very soon. And for the people of Ambazonia, please rise up. Don't sit there and wait. It is going to happen to your own child. It is going to happen in your own town. This is the time for the rest of Ambazonia to show solidarity with Kumba. The whole place should be up in arms. The whole place should be out in the streets. We should chase every colonial officer out of our land, and we should take it over and rule it on our own. We must bring the international community into this process, because for so long they have refused to do what is right, which is to compel the government of the regime of La République du Cameroun to show up for the negotiations.
Thank you, Ntumfoy. Dr. Abidu, I'd like you in 1 minute, speak to the women out there who are mourning in Kumba over the death of their children.
I will talk this one for Pidgin English. My sisters, my friends, my colleagues, my mothers, my grandmothers, and my daughters. First of all, I want to say, Ashia. We're going to continue for cry picking them. But what we're going to do next, and say we're going to stay firm. We're going to believe, say, this liberation movement not only for lead us to a better life for our picking them and future generations. Now, only two kind of people they do for we country now. The people where they want to stay with La République, and the people where they want to be independent. For all the time when I don't stay be alive, when I get for no say being with La République, when I be slaves, when I get the opportunity for be free people, so that when I picking them and grand picking them and great grand picking them go live on a free land, flowing with milk and honey. And no say this die, we don't hit we. It be very painful. But may not make us bitter, but we change course, because that's the word La Republique want. If one will be bitter, we will say we don't want this anymore. So that we will start support them. Not be the time this. The time now for we for rise up, for really believe say the better country, the way we, and we get for put all our energy together, bring others together. Stay away from the people that way they lie for us, because many people they lie for us. They just say they make us our friends, but they don't be our friends. When I listen to the interim government, by way be led by President Sako, it lead us in the right way, and we hope say through the Swiss-led process, this palaver will come for end soon, so that we feel remember all these were picking away they don't die, from the Gabo, from Baby Mata, from all the Pinyin massacre, Batibo, Gusang. We'll remember all them. We'll build monument for them. And we'll all know say God be on our side. As long as God there for we side, victory there ahead of us. I'll just end for say, Una Asia for die. We'll continue for cry picking them. We'll continue for pray for Una. Thank Una very much.
All right, thank you, Dr. Patience. I will move to the next subject, but before I get there again, I really would love to appeal to Ground Zero.
Chris, can I say something?
All right, Pastor John, go on, please, go on. Briefly,
Yes,
50 seconds, so that we can take some calls from Ground Zero.
We cried in Gabo. We cried when our children were killed and they are floating in rivers in Mezam. We cried when they murdered our children in Pinyin. We cried in Mato. We cried all over. And I am saying that it is time that La Republique would start crying. I'm also promising our people who have suffered all these heinous crimes that everybody who has been responsible for these heinous crimes will be brought to books. That is, if that's the last thing we do before we die, we will bring them to book. I am also telling that the parents in Kumba that they should hold heart, and that we will not let their children die in vain. And I'm calling on the restoration forces to make sure that the SD of Meme does not continue to do what he's doing against our people in Kumba. And leave it there. I cannot say much, but they will start crying very soon.
Thank you, Barrister John. Again, let me make this appeal to our people out there in Kumba, and of course, all of Ground Zero. La Republique must not intimidate us. La Republique must not intimidate us. And the blood of all these martyrs must not go in vain. We are hoping that the restoration forces out there in Kumba will carry out their investigations, and they will land it on the proper perpetrators of this act. But also, even more importantly, these colonial officers in Kumba, they must be shown the way out of our territory. By any means, they should be shown the way out of our territory. Tomorrow, Tuesday, again, is a national day of mourning in all of Ambazonia, not just in Kumba, but in all of Ambazonia, from Nkambe all the way to the Mongol. Ambazonia will be in mourning, shut down, stay home, ghost town. Let us mourn and condole with our brothers and sisters and parents in Kumba. All right, I will now get to the other subject of the day. Let's see if we can spend about 10 minutes on it before I open the phone lines for people on Ground Zero to come in with questions, if any. Now, ladies and gentlemen, you are all very aware of these two organizations out there. One is called the Coalition for negotiation and dialogue. I think it's American based. The other one is Pan-African something, putting together a peace conference in Ghana. The Coalition for Dialogue a week ago concluded a poll in which they sampled opinions of Ambazonians as to what they think should be the solution to this conflict. Before I get into that, into foreign Bo Herbert, please, this is very, very important. I would like you to, in a minute, educate Ambazonians as to what the Coalition for Dialogue is all about. Are they the same as Ambazonia coalition team that is working towards dialogue with La République du Cameroon? Is the Coalition for Dialogue an independent-minded organization like Maurice, like the interim government, like the APLM, and so on? In a minute, please, educate Ambazonians about what these groups are all about. 2 point.
No, the coalition it should really be called the Coalition for Federalism. That is what they are all about. And you know it from who is there and what they are looking for. People like Neba Fontem, that's what they are looking for. People like John Ba Akuru, that's what they are looking for. When you hear people who are still trying to find out what the root causes of this conflict, of this genocide unfolding in Ambazonia is, then you know that these people are coming from somewhere else. When you know people where you go to a conference and you make resolutions and they take them to the back, like Professor Anyangwe, to doctor the results of that conference so that they should reflect what they want, you know that they are not working for this revolution. When you hear people, after the international community supports negotiations without preconditions, under the Swiss, when you hear them say they will crash the process, they will crash it. They are not looking for the good of the people of Ambazonia. They offer you nothing. The only comparison I can make between them is to make a comparison between someone like Satan campaigning for you to get to hell. He tells you that the place is beautiful. He tells you that heaven is overrated. He tells you, don't worry about it. Now, if you're an idiot, you follow Satan to hell. Now, if you know where you are going, if you know the light, you know the truth, you know how these problems are solved, you know that they are solved around an internationally supported table of negotiations. And they have no table for you. They have conferences in hell, such as, a conference in Ghana, where La République du Cameroon has been playing the same proxy wars and games that they are playing with Biafra, trying to steer the international community to believe that if Ambazonia was free, then the people of the former Togoland would ask for freedom. They have been funding that nonsense, and they have been destabilizing Ghana. Ghana should not host that conference because the people coming to them are not for Ghana. And I speak like a good guy who's worked for Ghana. I have my documentary out there, Voices of the New Ghana. It's a country I don't want to see destabilized by La République du Cameroon. The same way they're struggling to destabilize Nigeria and paint the picture that if Ambazonia were to become free, then Biafra will become free. Ambazonia is free. We obtained independence. You cannot say that of Togoland. You cannot say that of Biafra. And we will be free, whether they like it or not, no matter the numbers of manipulation, and no matter the people that continue to recruit. Because what did we see today? We saw a certain Reverend Kisop being sworn in as a president. He called himself the president of the government of Ambazonia. I mean, these videos don't lie to you. When God wants you to tell the truth, you get to tell it. He called himself the government of Ambazonia from out of jail. We've seen people who tell you that they will not support Siseko Ayuk Tabe as a free person working out of Nigeria, but they will support him to lead us as a man behind bars from out of jail. This is not freedom they are looking for. This is not support for the people of Ambazonia. When people tell you to walk away from a table of negotiations laid by the international community and supported by the international community, and they offer you nothing except conferences and surveys over subjects that you already know, you know that they are idiots. You need not follow them. If you do, they would have, in fact, proven that you're an idiot.
Thank you, Tumfoy. This is the problem that I find with this organization called the Coalition for Dialogue and Negotiation. Now, this organization came up right after we arrived an agreement with the USD and the Swiss to mediate this struggle, this conflict with La République du Cameroon. Immediately that arrangement was reached, this coalition came up, and I think they say there's a proverb that says something in the pudding. Somebody remind me.
Yeah, the taste is in the pudding.
I'm sorry.
The taste is in the pudding.
The taste is in the pudding. That is it. Yeah, that's a proverb. The proverb says the taste is in the pudding. Now, when you look at the composition of membership of the Coalition for Dialogue, you have people like Chris Formunyo. You have people, as you mentioned, Tumfoin, Fontem Neba. You have people like John Akuro, and so many others. So many others. Now, when you look at their resume, you will know somebody like Chris Formunyo has never stood for the independence of a free Ambazonia. Of course, Fontem Neba, he came here pretending to be an independentist. Suddenly, we found him in conferences without a flag of Ambazonia. John Akuro out there making commentary all the time and referring to us as Ambazonians, including himself. But John Akuro is also a member of this Pan-African something that is hosting a peace conference, Peace Without Justice, in Ghana. Now you also go into the list of people in that organization, Coalition for Dialogue. You look at their poll that they conducted last week, for instance. They mention nothing about the form of state. Of course, Ambazonia is not talking about a form of state, but La République du Cameroun needs to know that Ambazonia has resolved already for a form of state. But you go through their polling. No, the thing is all crafted to give La République and the international community the impression that Ambazonians are still willing for a one and indivisible Cameroon. If some negotiations can just be made, maybe a federalism or a decentralized structure. These people are very sneaky and crafty. I have invited them, ladies and gentlemen, to ABC, not once, not twice. They will not agree to come here to explain to Ambazonians exactly what they are all about, how they hope to achieve their goals, and who is giving them the money for this. This is very important because, ladies and gentlemen, it's not everything that you see out there in the name of the Southern Cameroons. Of course, these people will never mention the word Ambazonia. They will never carry our colors. They will never sing our anthem. But they camouflage in the Southern Cameroons to fool you that they too are working just for the same solutions as you all are working for. Dr. Abidu, you sent out a little write-up the other day trying to educate people about that poll that was conducted by the Coalition for Negotiation. Please educate Ambazonians. What was wrong? What did you find wrong in that poll? Thank you.
Okay, so by the way, I think the survey was still going on till yesterday. I think
it ended on the 16th. It long ended because, sorry to cut it short, I spoke before we came on the show today. Yesterday, I consulted with one of their leaders to see if they could join us so they can, with their own mouths, explain exactly what they are trying to do. And the reply I got was, the polling ended on the 16th. Okay, that if I want to be part of the conference, I am welcome to the conference, but they will not come on ABC to explain to Ambazonians what exactly they're trying to do. So please go ahead.
Yeah, so then they had the wrong information, because if you click on it, it says it's going from the 16th to the 24th. Anyway, the problem is this, because I had the privilege of talking to some people that are part of this coalition of dialogue, and I have somebody that I consider a friend, but when Ambazonia is concerned, sometimes this friendship thing we will fall apart because of Ambazonia. And I asked her, how can you make sure that only Southern Cameroonians will complete the survey? Because anybody from Francophone, Bamilikis, for example, they were some of them have parents that were really Bamilikis, but they were born in our area, right? And they know our history. So they can easily go and fill this survey and skew it more towards a federation or unified one and indivisible Cameroon. So I asked, how will you be able to prevent? I went through the whole survey. I put false answers, all of them. I didn't submit, but I put all false answers. And if I had submitted, I assume that others can do the same thing. By the way, Archbishop Tumi had a survey also not long ago that showed that 65% of Ambazonians, of Southern Cameroonians, want their independence, right? So why do we need this now? She told me that they want to take a pause to see how Cameroonians feel about their aspirations for their homeland. What homeland are they talking about? We already have Ambazonians who know that they want Ambazonia, and you have other people that want to stay with La Republique. So this survey is a wrong survey at this time. Secretary Chris, we are out of time, because if you go through the questions, you will easily know that it's meant to capture everybody, including Francophones, who may give the wrong answers.
Exactly.
What I'm disappointed at, one more thing, what I'm disappointed at, and I don't know if you know that Yeremia made an audio, a video, and I believe he's talking for Siseko, advising Ambazonians to fill the survey. Yeremia did that, and I am so disappointed. And from that, I'm concluding that they want federation.
You are right. Let me cut you there. You are very right. Let me say something. It's a revelation that many of you out there do not know. Some of these so-called Ambazonians have their legs everywhere. Whether it is one and indivisible Cameroon, unitary decentralized state with a special status, they are there. Whether it is a federal country, they are there. Whether it is Southern Cameroons, they are there. Whether it is Ambazonia, they are there. They have their legs everywhere. As you said, Dr. Abido, Yerima comes out and endorses a group that has nothing to do with independence. Now, I also see in the forum that is organizing this conference in this so-called peace conference in Ghana, Siseko is in there, and members of his group are in there. So I will not be surprised tomorrow Yerima will be in Ghana with, imagine, and Barrister John, I want you to listen to this. Imagine in that forum, putting this conference in Ghana together, MKPD, my countryman who is helping the killing of our people, is in there. He is in there. And if I can name all the others that are in there, you are surprised. And in that forum, the only thing you find in there is La Republique flag. You don't hear anything about Ambazonia. You don't hear anything about justice. You don't hear anything about independence. But Siseko and his gang, they are in there. It comes to Coalition for Dialogue, Siseko and their gang, they are in there. I am shocked. I don't know whether it is confusion or what are these people expecting. What do they want? Professor John, please.
No volume.
Talking about these people, this is a thing orchestrated and financed, bankrolled by La République du Cameroon. They know those they have selected to talk about federation. We don't know how many states or whatever, what form of federation. There are a group of people who have been selected and they have been financed The two conferences are being bankrolled by La République du Cameroon. That's how desperate they are. Listen, before I came here on this platform, I read a piece written by your so-called Dr. Makango David. In it, the first thing he's put on it is that the Swiss initiative is dead and gone. It's fake and it's not dead and gone. The coalition for dialogue and negotiation is the place to be at this time. And when I read his piece, I didn't see any reason why he claimed that the Swiss talks are dead. Makango said he assisted in an international town hall meeting of 100 people, and they are ready for this dialogue and negotiations in America, and that they are going to bankroll, they are going to raise money to take care of the families in Kumba and this and that and that and that. I also had a conversation between my colleagues, Emmanuel Ashu, and the people and the Ambazonians in Australia. They were inviting him on a Zoom conference and he refused. And he said that he claimed that the Swiss talks have been dead for a very long time, and that this is the conference that will establish the negotiations between La République du Cameroun and Ambazonia, and that there is no way that we can have independence, and that the only thing we can hope for is federation. So why are we wasting our time talking about these two conferences? Because they don't concern us. All we can do is to tell our people nobody should go to that conference.
I think that's essentially what we are trying to do here. Without education, our people are confused, they are naive, gullible, at least some. So that is why this exercise is very important.
All right. Well, all I'm saying is that we should tell our people right now that those conferences are conferences for federation, and that nobody who believes in the independence of Ambazonia should waste his time going there to hear, even to listen or to open a radio or to whatever means to talk about it. They are floating all kinds of material on social media and trying to make themselves relevant. But we should not give them that forum.
Thank you.
They are being financed and bankrolled by La République du Cameroon, and they know what they are doing.
Dr. Patience, quickly, please.
Yes, there's one question that is on the survey that really piqued my attention. It says that, in your opinion, it's asking the people that are taking the survey, in your opinion, which form of state for Southern Cameroons is most likely to satisfactorily address the root cause of this armed conflict? And it is asking them to answer whether the choices are decentralized state within the Republic of Cameroon, government-sponsored special status, federal state within the Republic of Cameroon, confederated state with the Republic of Cameroon, and fully independent state for the Republic of Cameroon. Now here's the problem.
No. Is it for the Republic of Ambazonia or Republic of Cameroon?
For the Republic of Cameroon.
What? Read that question and the answer and the options again, please. That's interesting.
Yes. Okay, in your opinion, which form of state for Southern Cameroons is most likely to satisfactorily address the root causes of this armed conflict? Number 1, decentralized state within the Republic of Cameroon. Number 2, government-sponsored special status. Number 3, federal state within the Republic of Cameroon. Number 4, confederated state with the Republic of Cameroon. And the last one, fully independent state for the Republic of Cameroon.
Fully independent state for the Republic of Cameroon.
Yes.
Oh yes.
This is yes.
Go on, please.
No,
So,
what we
go ahead.
have here, what we have here is back to the future. Is the choice between yes and we.
Exactly.
Exactly.
Who you have. These people who tell you that the Swiss process is dead, and who try to hang behind the fact that HD is an NGO, they don't want to tell the people of Ambazonia that the government of Switzerland is the mediator and that they have a technical facilitator, a specialized organization that is working with them. These people of the coalition, they will not tell you that they are working with an American NGO that is called Pave the Way, whose owner lives in New York and whose organization is in his basement, because that's how small it is. It's an NGO, an American NGO. Look up their website, you will see it, Pave the Way. Pave the Way, by the way, were the fools that showed up and told us that we could sign up for them as negotiators. But when we got to Switzerland, we realized just how incompetent they were. We realized just how unprofessional they were. And we also realized that they were there to represent John Ba Akuru and Neba Fontem, not the SCLC. And we had a 3.5-hour questioning of the representative of Pave the Way at night after dinner. And after that, we deliberated for 1.5 hours and we decided to fire them. And we communicated that information the next morning and dismissed them from Switzerland. And ever since, they wrote all kinds of statements about how this thing was not working. The other thing that they tried to do right there in Switzerland was to claim that they were working with the ambassador of Switzerland in Nigeria to recover children who had been kidnapped by Boko Haram. Well, the Swiss government doesn't work like some banana republic. They immediately called up the ambassador, they called up the foreign affairs, and they told this guy, you get out of here. You are the most unprofessional person we've ever seen. And they walked him out of there. People of Ambazonia, we know what we are talking to you about. These people are desperate. Who is working with them? Ambassador Cohen. What has Ambassador Cohen told you before? He has told you that you are only good for federalism. Who is Ambassador Cohen? He's the guy who was sleeping at the switch when Ahidjo destroyed West Cameroon. He is now here to finish the business. And joining him to finish the business is the man Neba Fontem who had come out of Cameroon with the purposes of destroying the struggle in the United States. That is how come he fired Dr. Sako when he had no powers to do so. Supported today by a guy like John Ba Akuru, whom we can talk about journalism here. You are not going to find a story that John Ba Akuru did against the of Mr. Biya. He only showed up behind Deacon Tasang when he was in Nigeria, and the purpose he was there was to prevent the consortium from joining the fight for independence. And he prevented Deacon Tasang for a long time. And now that the consortium has crossed, John Ba Akuru has come back up. He who does not belong to a union, he did not bring the union of journalists with him. He is now the leader of that consortium, and he's taking them straight back to federalism where they were at the beginning. People of Ambazonia, open your eyes. These people think you are fools. Prove to them you are not.
Thank you. I will give Barrister John the last 50-second comment on this. But before you do that, let me inform Ground Zero. I will be opening the phone lines for about 10 minutes. I would really love to receive calls coming from K-Town. But before you call, make sure the volume of your set is shut down. Make sure the volume of your set is shut down to prevent an echo, because I won't waste time taking calls and then sit on the line saying hello, hello, hello. So before you call, make sure that the volume of your set is shut down. The phone line will be on the screen very, very soon. Again, I'd love to hear from Ground Zero, Kumba in particular. Barrister John, go on, please. Chip in something on this subject of so-called independentists having their legs everywhere. Thank you.
My dear compatriots, Ambazonians, we have come this far and we don't need any distraction. We don't need any further distraction. We are focused with the Swiss initiative. We are focused with liberating our people. We are focused on increasing firepower on the ground. And please, we have much in our hands. Do not waste your time thinking or even contemplating anything like a conference in Washington, D.C. or in Ghana and all that, because it's all orchestrated by La République du Cameroon. Think about what we will do to liberate our homeland. We are struggling now to increase firepower because we have lost so much. We have lost so many children in the last 2 months, September and October. Please, this question of independentists putting their hands, their legs here and there, I will not call them independents. There are people who are sitting on the fence. If you find out very closely, none of them has drafted a penny. I am calling on all Ambazonians who have not drafted to do so now, do so as quickly as possible, because we need to start unleashing what we plan to do to liberate our people. Do not be distracted by all these so-called conferences that La République has bankrolled and they are getting ready to take place. I don't know where and how, so that when they come here, they have nobody to talk to. Please, Ambazonians, don't go there. You will find a lot of Francophones going there, but that's not your problem. Stay where you are, concentrate on our struggle, and let's finish the job. Thank you very much for listening to me.
All right, thank you, Barrister John. When I get to the phones, get the first caller here. Hello, sir.
Hello, good evening, Secretary Chris.
Good evening, sir. May I know where you're calling in from, please?
Yeah, I'm calling in from Denmark. I'm calling precisely with the propaganda of what Mimimefo is doing. Want to make it very clear to her that this is Europe, and if he's doing this thing, we'll start making campaign with DW to start to know that this journalist who is promoting genocide in Cameroon, and we are not like saying this is the last warning we are giving her. We start the campaign immediately with DNW to know that this is what one of the employee is doing. Thank you, Secretary Chris.
Thank you. I think that is a very plausible step to be taken by Ambazonians, especially those of you who are in Europe. You can join this comrade, I don't know where he's coming from, Sweden, and take up that campaign. It is very, very necessary. It is very, very important. We need to bring these reporters back to professionalism, not cut and join journalism. All right. I get to the next caller here. All right. Hello.
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 Yes, I can hear you. Where are you calling from, please?
Hello, sir. I'm calling from Ground Zero.
Where precisely? Which county?
Precisely from yes, from Mezam County.
All right. Thank you for the call. What is in your mind, sir?
Mezam, please.
Mezam. Yes. What is in your mind?
Yeah, please. We just played on with you. I got an information from an informant I'm very close to, whose family member orchestrated the killing of General Aike. Please do inform the Red Dragons and General Diamond to be very careful. There's a family member by name Forbidden. He is the one responsible for the killing of Ahike, and they are coming for fee Masha anytime from now. So pass on that information, please.
Does the guy know Fie Masha personally?
Yes, very well. They have taken their family out of your hometown.
So where is him? Where is this Forbin now?
He is in Yaoundé. He left Yaoundé with them because he was in the village driving Okada. So he complained that they did something to him. That is why he brought the military in, and he's the one that led them last time to Libya Alem, and they did not succeed in their mission. So Forbin is captured again.
All right.
So take note.
Thank you. Thank you for the information. God bless. All right. Okay. Let's see who is next here. Hello, sir.
Hello.
Hello.
Hello,
Secretary Chris.
Good evening, sir. May I know where you are calling in from, please?
Yes, I'm calling from the northern zone, Mezam in particular.
Okay, and what is in your mind?
Yes, I hope we are just cracking my jokes. We know who Jim Vodo is. Jim Vodo has killed even reverend men, pastors, and bishops. The international community stays silent. I don't think our children that we are losing make sense to the international community if they did not go into what happened to the American missionaries. And I would like to make you understand that our struggle, we should not focus very much on the international community. If we have to focus very much on the international community, we are going to lose this war. We are talking of conferences, we are talking of negotiation, we are talking of this. We are merely cracking the jokes, just cracking the jokes. That brings burden very much on us on ground zero. I hope the money we are raising, I hope the financings we are putting into place is just to, go into heavy ammunition so that our guys should get up and bring these elements of wickedness out of our territories. If we begin to talk today about conferences, that I look at it to be fully comedian. And let me tell you something. There is something you do not really make mention of. Like PB wants, our kids to leave our territories and go back to school to Yaoundé and Douala so that they gain much money. That is one of the things that you people don't know. They are doing everything possible to function our education as to gain our people as they had wanted us to be Francophonized. So I think you people should be very cautious about this. And secondly, they are talking of our men killing these kids. Why should our men go after our own people, not after their own people? That school is a bilingual school, and I hope there are Francophones there. If at all our boys were involved, they ought to have sorted out the Francophones and leased them out, not really our own people. So
right. I'm sure you listened to my commentary when I said the first military guy carrying a gun walking into that classroom pointed the gun at the first lady, the first student he saw, and the girl shouted, "Pardon, pardon," in French. The leader of the team then said to the guy toting the gun not to shoot. And then he turned the gun on the other lady and blew up the brains off. So you can tell from their actions that these guys were French Cameroon military sent by the regime to kill all the Ambazonian students.
Yes. For that reason, these are tangible proofs to make us understand that La Republique is behind the killings. So please, we should be preparing ourselves. We should be doing everything possible to put the draft money we contributed into the war, get good weaponry, and give to our people to at least drive out this, wicked regime.
All right, thank you. Thank you for the call.
Thank you.
All right. Barrister John, what do you have to say there?
Yes, I want to assure that caller that the interim government is doing everything and to make sure that the draft money the draft that was collected, that was done, everybody pays, and we deploy that money to increase firepower. We of the IOC, that is Intergovernmental Oversight Committee, we have started the process of letting our people get the use of the money. We have already approved 9 counties and they are working on increasing their firepower. There will be firepower coming on the ground, my caller. Don't be worried. There will be firepower. All what we are saying is that we should not be distracted by these commissions all over the place, New York and Ghana and so on and so forth. Please be focused. I want to let you know that there will be firepower coming very swiftly. Thank you.
All right, thank you. Let's get to the next caller here. Hello.
Hello, sir. Today, good evening, and to all of you on the panel.
Good evening, sir. Where are you calling from?
Guinea Equatorial.
Guinea Equatorial. All right. And you are Ambazonian?
Yes, typical Amazonian.
All right. What
Yes.
is your contribution, please?
First of all, I want to say the bad news that we are doing here.
Can you be a little louder, please?
I just say that the battery would hear and we have over ground zero for Kumbada. I think that would all the Monday site be very, very disturbing.
Right.
So I want to ask on to Bo Ebe. You know the Bo Ebe ever be for.
Hello. I think we're having a poor connection here.
They have cut him off.
He's on, but trying to reconnect. Well, let's hope that he calls back. Let's see who is next. All right. Can you shut down the volume of your television, please, and focus on your phone?
Yeah, absolutely. I've done that.
Okay, where are you calling from?
I'm calling from Northlands and Bamenda.
All right, and what is your comment, or Christian?
Good evening to you on the panel.
Thank you.
I just want to key in with the second to last caller that we have arrived at a stage where the only thing that can bring our redemption is firepower. That's the only thing, very practical. Yes. That is the only language that these people understand. These people are ready to do their wars. We know it. No talking, no more talking. In fact, other measures like ghost town, diplomacy and so on are good, but what will get rid of these people is firepower on ground zero. That is the.
All right. Thank you. I think we all agree. That's not a subject of debate. Thank you for the call. All
Could
right.
I put in something here?
Yes, Ntumfam, go on, please.
I just want to agree that we need firepower, but I also want to say that the self-defense volunteers, they joined to provide defense to our people, self-defense to our people. They did not join so that the rest of us resign.
Yes,
and so what
stay
we
on hold,
need
please. Remain
is
on hold.
both firepower and the presence and the uprising of our people. It is that combination that will deliver for Ambazonia. So a combination of firepower and our people rising up.
Thank you.
All right, Tumfon, thank you. Let me get to the next caller here. Hello.
Hello, Secretary Chris.
Hello, good evening, sir. You're calling from London.
Yeah, I'm calling from London. My name is King Peking.
Okay, all right. What is your contribution, sir?
Yes, sir. I want to thank you guys for the brilliant presentation, especially from Comrade Bo Herbert and the rest of you guys.
Thank you.
I just want to put a little caution here. We know we are fighting a guerrilla war, and if you are fighting a guerrilla war, you should not be going to telling your enemy, I'm standing here, I'm laying my trap here to go and catch you by the head or by the neck. So we should base our arguments on aim to attack and not to tell the enemy, oh, wait for us, we're coming. I think we should let the enemy be taken by surprise. That is the modus of operandi for the guerrilla war. So that's what I'm just want to caution here, because when we try to tell the enemy, oh, we're coming with a full force, we're coming with this, and sometimes it doesn't happen. It weakens our people, because they say that, oh, they're expecting that this is going to happen. Let this be as a surprise to everybody, to our enemy, and to other people who are expecting something. It should come as a surprise. That's just the word of caution I want to give.
All right.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. I think we all agree with you. That is what it should be. However, we're not divulging any plans here. We're talking in general terms, and our people understand. Okay, this will be the last caller, ladies and gentlemen. I think we've had a really good time here today. Let me get to the next last caller here. Don't call again after this. Hello.
Yeah,
hello. Hello.
Yeah, hello. Yeah, hello, Secretary Chris. Good evening.
Good evening, sir. May I know you're calling from Germany, right?
Yeah, I'm calling from Germany. My name is Siegfried.
Okay, what is your contribution, please?
Yes, my contribution is that I want to first thank all the panelists, especially Senior Comrade Bohebe for being there, and I enjoy all the way he analyzes the thing, including Barrister Fu and our mama. Now, my point here about this massacre in Kumba is that it is high time for the Kumba diaspora to take note of this situation and to join their LGA.
Correct.
They should join their LGA. It is the moment. If they want to really avenge the death of these our children, it is a time for them to join their LGA. It is only through that medium that they can avenge the death of these our children. Now, Kumba has a very big diaspora. I see them. I'm from Kumba. That's why I'm talking. I see them. There, they burst, rip, and so on. Rest in peace. That is not going to help. It's not going to help. We have volunteers, we have guys, we have girls. They are on ground zero. They have decided to put their life for this freedom. What they need from us is just support, so that you have the necessary equipment to send away the colonial administrators. But some of the Kumba diaspora are in diaspora, they are sleeping. But what they can do is just to write rip. It is not enough, my dear brothers and sisters. You have to stand up, join your LGA, and fight. Look, we are in Europe, we are in America, we are in Asia. Those people, they fought for their freedom before we have to migrate over there. So it is high time for us to also free our own land and to make our own land a paradise. Thank you very much. My condolences to all the Biggie family in Kumba, and we promise we shall avenge the death of those children. Thank you very much, sir.
Thank you so very much. It couldn't have come at the best time. Thank you for the call, and that will be the last caller. I will give one minute to my panelists to say the last word, and we will call it a day. I'll start with Dr. Abido, please.
Thank you so much, Secretary Chris, for this opportunity as we mourn the passing of our children. I want to just extend my condolences to all the families and the friends that have been affected by this grievous crime, that they stay focused, and if they believe in the one and only Ambazonia, we will get that dream recognized in the near future. All we have to do is believe. As long as you believe, the results will be inevitable. Thanks so much, and stay blessed.
Thank you, Dr. Patience. Ntumfoin, please.
People of Ambazonia, let me just remind you again, La République du Cameroun is desperate. They are looking for all kinds of ways to try and send a message to the world that you have done this, but they are just joking. Everybody knows who killed Baby Mata. Everybody knows who killed those students and threw them in a river in Bali. Everybody knows who slit the throats of the young ladies. Everybody knows who sent a lawyer to the United States to sue our people for terrorism in courts in California. Everybody knows who is lobbying the Senate of the United States to tell our people to stop a peaceful boycott of schools. Everybody knows who is sponsoring for people to drag cases before the Attorney General of Maryland to stop our war. Everybody knows who is mounting these conferences around the world to try and raise federalism as an option for our people. And every one of you knows, and there's leadership right now. I saw great leadership from the Bishop of Kumba, Fonagapitus, his Lordship Fonagapitus. The people of Ambazonia, join your people of Kumba. Rise up, take your country, take control of your country. End this war now, or you will pass it to the next generation. And don't let any distraction stop you from thinking that you can contribute to the war. The self-defenders who have weapons are protecting you, but you're part of the war. You can look to Nigeria now to know what you need to do. Don't stay at home. Don't stay in those schools. You're just putting yourself up to be killed. Get out there and fight for your country. It's now you must do it.
Thank you, and Ntumfoin, Barrister John, please, the last word, 1 minute.
Yes, Chris, thank you very much. I have this message for the junta in Yaoundé. There is no hiding place for you. When it will all be said and done, you will not have any place to hide. We are going to drag you to the ICC and you will pay for all the atrocious crimes you've committed on our people. Don't be so comfortable. Keep killing. We will come after you, personally and individually and collectively. We are working day and night to make sure that you pay for your crimes. And I want to tell my brothers and sisters, my friends in Ambazonia, that we are on the right track in spite of all the tragedies we are facing. First, I want to pass my condolences to the bereaved families in Kumba, and that since Saturday we have been mourning, and we will continue to mourn until we bring justice to the doorsteps of La République du Cameroon. I want to tell you to stay focused, and for those of us in diaspora, draft, and pay your draft, so that we can put good equipment in the hands of these boys and girls who are giving it their all to liberate us on ground zero. Please, we are waiting for you. We will do everything to put the necessary materials in the hands of our people, our young people, to finish this job. Well, thank you very much.
Thank you, everybody. Thank you, audience, for tuning in. It was a pleasure to come to you today with this very, very special presentation. I want to again remind the people of Kumba, the people of K-Town, a place that I really love so much. We want you to know, all of us out here in the diaspora, we have your backs. We have your backs. And as that caller from Kumba has suggested, I really wish that the people of K-Town, the vibrant people of K-Town in the diaspora would seize on this opportunity to come together to support that city, to get the people to recover from the pain that they go through currently. Please, we're urging every parent on ground zero, please save your children by keeping them home. Save your children by keeping them home. If they must go to school, let them go to school out of Ambazonia. And let me once more remind all the school proprietors out there, any child that is killed in any school, we will hold that against you, because if you do not open the doors, nobody will come in. Shut the doors. Shut the doors. Save the children. Save their families. Tomorrow, Tuesday, once more, is a national mourning day, a day of mourning for all of Ambazonia, from Nkambe to the Mongo. Tomorrow, everybody, please stay home and let us condole and fraternize with our brothers, our sisters up in Kumba. I look forward to coming back here sometime within the week to update you with what goes on. God bless you all, and thanks for tuning in.
the people, and there is no